Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing, continuing over the cloudy conditions this morning and expecting clouds to stick around as we move through the day today. Overall, expecting mainly dry conditions as we continue through our working hours today. We'll see a very slight chance of maybe an isolated sprinkle around the area this afternoon, but the better chance of rain starts to move in as we get past the 1800 local time frame, with a good chance of seeing some rain showers around the area this evening. Temperatures have climbed into the low 50s at this time and still seeing those winds generally northerly and fairly light. If you take a look at the current surface analysis, we have that system off to the west that's going to be tracking eastward. That area of low pressure is actually going to dissipate, and we'll see another area of low pressure forming just to our south, still staying fairly weak, but that will help to enhance some of the wind, the onshore flow as we move through the early morning hours and into tomorrow, as well as that boundary is going to bring that shower activity into the area. So that will be our next disturbance that moves through the area. And then behind that, we'll see higher pressure building in and things quieting down for a couple of days. If we look at the upper level winds from this morning, sounding fairly light winds through the column here and a bit variable as we move up, and then becoming westerly in the upper levels, and our peak wind is 36 knots at 25,000 feet. The freezing level this morning was at 4,500 feet. Taking a look at the current visible satellite as well as the composite reflectivity, we can see the showers moving into the western Virginia and West Virginia area. Still well off to our west, but slowly tracking eastward. Otherwise, clouds socked in over the local area, and expecting that to be the case as we continue through the next 24 hours. We look at the short-term high-resolution model, see how things play out as we move through the day today. Again, expecting mainly dry conditions as we move through our working hours today. This model here indicating maybe a light sprinkle or shower possible, but that looks very unlikely. Not a lot of models indicating that. So we should stay dry through our working hours, and then we'll see best chance of rain starts to approach as we get past the 1800 time frame, and then that continues as we move into the evening, particularly as we get past midnight, is when we'll see our best chance of widespread and possibly some moderate rain as that new area of low pressure develops to our south. We'll also see some of those winds picking up, becoming a bit gustier through the overnight and early morning hours of Friday, and that low pressure will continue tracking eastward, and as we get into the start of the day Friday, we should see most, if not all, of the rain wrapped up by the time we start our working hours on Friday, with just a chance of some lingering light showers or sprinkles around to start the day for the first hour or two, but should see mainly dry conditions. And as we move through the day Friday, we'll continue to see dry conditions around the area and clearing skies all over. That continues as we go overnight Friday into Saturday, seeing mostly sunny conditions and slightly breezy conditions continuing as well into the weekend, and things will lighten up a bit as we get into day on Sunday. If we zoom out here, look at the longer term forecast, we see that area of high pressure building in as we move into these middle of the weekend and continuing so into the end of the weekend. We'll see a stretch of, once again, dry weather and some fairly mild temperatures, slightly above average temperatures continuing as we get into the work week next week. Starting on Monday, we'll see a upper level trough digging and passing well to our north. That has the potential of bringing a dry boundary in through the area. Not expecting any precipitation with that. We'll just see some additional cloud cover and shifting in the winds. Otherwise, dry conditions prevail with some still fairly mild and just above average temperatures as we move into Tuesday and Wednesday. We will see what looks like another area of low pressure moving into the Great Lakes, bringing a boundary across the region and possibly a warm front through the region as we move through Tuesday and Wednesday. That's going to increase some cloud cover. Right now, things are looking mainly dry for Tuesday, and then getting into Wednesday, things look mainly dry. Other models indicating maybe a light shower here or there, but still some uncertainty with this next trough and low pressure tracking across the country next week. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, but we'll likely see some changes in the forecast depending on how that starts to play out. So if we look at the 24-hour weather chart for today, expecting green conditions as we move through our working hours today. We'll see our high temperature around 57 degrees this afternoon, and winds will turn more east-northeasterly to easterly, 7 to 12 knots, gusting up to 17 knots. And again, seeing our ceilings pretty much stay around 3,000 to 4,000 feet through the day and into the evening. We'll see those dropping a bit with the rainfall. We do pick up our yellow risk for some precip as we move mainly past the 1800 local time frame, and again a very slight chance of an isolated light shower or sprinkle prior to that. Otherwise, increasing chances as we go through the overnight time frame, bumping up to an orange and ultimately a red risk as we pass midnight for that 0 to 4 a.m. time frame. We'll also pick up a yellow risk for reduced ceilings and visibilities with that activity, and then back to green for our ceilings as we go into the start of the day on Friday. But we will pick up a yellow risk for those winds at or above 25 knots to start today on Friday, as we do expect those winds turning more northeasterly and seeing those peak gusts up around 20 to 22 knots. So just below 25 knots, but can't rule out possibly seeing that be exceeded. Right now, tide's running half a foot above normal. Friday, we'll see cloudy conditions to start today with that very slight chance of a lingering shower early, not looking overly likely. Should see most of that pooling out of the area by the time we start today on Friday. Clouds will decrease through today, becoming mostly and ultimately partly cloudy as we get later in the day, but we will see some slightly breezy conditions lingering around, so we do have that yellow risk for winds at or above 25 knots. Otherwise seasonable with a high of 57 degrees. We'll keep a slight breeze Friday evening with partly cloudy to mostly clear conditions and a low of 43 degrees. Green conditions for our weather risk. And then Saturday we'll see mostly sunny and slightly breezy conditions with a high of 62 degrees. So slightly mild for our Saturday, but we'll keep another risk, yellow risk for those winds at or above 25 knots. The extended forecast here, we see a nice weekend with slightly breezy again on Saturday, fairly mild on Sunday once again with partly cloudy conditions. The breeze lets up, and overall we'll see mainly partly cloudy conditions through the extended forecast here. We'll see our temperatures in the low to mid 60s for our highs, in the mid 40s for our lows. We'll see increasing clouds at times, particularly as that dry boundary pushes through on Monday, and once again as that next system tracks across the country, getting into Wednesday, and warm boundary lifting through the area, possibly bringing some additional cloud cover. But right now things look mainly dry through the extended forecast, and again could see some change in that with as the models start to hone in on that next system moving through next week. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 at 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.